Everyone who comes to this park comes for the giant, the tallest waterfall in Wisconsin. But walk upstream past the lake into the quiet October woods and you find its smaller sibling, a waterfall of 31 feet where a dark river splits in two and pours over rock that is more than 1 billion years old. This is Little Manitou Falls, and it may be the best-kept secret in Pattison State Park. Today we take the quieter trail and follow the quieter falls. We are in the far northwest corner of Wisconsin in Douglas County, about 13 miles south of the city of Superior. This is Pattison State Park, roughly 1,400 acres of forest, river, and falling water. The river running through it is the Black River, and it stages a remarkable performance here. It slows into a lake, drops 31 feet at Little Manitou Falls, and then downstream takes a far greater plunge. Our hike today stays on the upper river, on the trail to the Little Falls. It is the 4th of October and the north woods are turning. Aspen and birch are going gold, the maples are flaring red, and the pines and spruce stay stubbornly green through it all. The air off the river is cool, and the trail is soft with the first fallen leaves. Autumn comes early this close to Lake Superior, and it does not linger. A week or two either way and this walk looks completely different. The Black River makes two named drops inside this park. Downstream stands Big Manitou Falls, 165 feet, the highest waterfall in Wisconsin. That giant gets the crowds, the postcards, and its own story, which we tell in another episode. Little Manitou Falls, about 1.5 miles upstream, is a different kind of place. At 31 feet, it is a fraction of the height, but it is closer and far more intimate. You do not peer at it from a distant overlook, you stand beside it. The trail south to the Little Falls follows the river almost the whole way. Off to one side, the Black River slides by, smooth and dark, gathering itself for the drop ahead. This stretch connects to the Beaver Trail, a 2-mile loop that circles the lake through Boreal forest. Walked together, they make an easy afternoon. Our route today covers about 1 mile of riverside walking, unhurried with the water always in earshot. So where does this river come from? The Black River rises to the west, in remote, high, marshy country in northeastern Pine County, Minnesota. It begins among bogs and conifer swamps, gathering water that is steeped in peat and sphagnum moss. From there it flows east into Wisconsin, through Douglas County forest with almost no towns and virtually no farms along the way. It is a wild little river from its first mile to its last, and this park is its grand finale. Look at the water as it slides over the rocks here. It is not muddy and it is not polluted. It is clear but deeply stained, the color of strong tea, or as many describe it, root beer. Where it thins over a ledge, it glows amber, and where it deepens, it turns nearly black. That color is the river's signature, and it earned the river its name. The Ojibwe called this river Mucudewa Sebee, meaning dark water. The tint comes from tannins, the same compounds that darken tea, released by decaying vegetation in the bogs at the headwaters. Every mile of swamp and cedar the water passes adds a little more color. This kind of stained water is common in rivers born from northern peatlands, and it says something reassuring. A tannin river is usually a river draining wild country, not plowed fields. You hear Little Manitou Falls before you see it. First a hush under the birdsong, then a steady rush, and then through the trees a flash of white water against dark rock. The trail brings you in close, down to viewpoints almost level with the drop. The Ojibwe knew this place by its own name, Kakabika, the Little Waterfalls. Small it may be, but up close it fills the whole world with sound. The dark rock the river pours over is basalt, and it is staggeringly old. Around 1 billion years ago, this part of the continent was tearing itself apart, and enormous flows of lava spread across the region. Those flows cooled into the hard black basalt that now floors the river. When you watch the water break white over that dark ledge, you are watching a river at work on the frozen remains of ancient lava. Few waterfalls anywhere flow over a stage this old. Here is the falls itself. The Black River splits into 2 main channels and drops 31 feet over a wide ledge of basalt, into a small basin walled with rock and rimmed with forest. In October the frame is at its finest, gold and crimson leaves hanging over dark stone and amber water. The spray drifts, the pool churns, and the river gathers itself and moves on. It is a small waterfall that behaves like a big one. Two more forces finished this landscape after the lava cooled. Glaciers ground across this country during the ice ages, scouring away softer sandstone and exposing the hard basalt beneath. And deep in the rock runs the Douglas Fault, an ancient fracture along which the land shifted long ago, leaving cliffs and broken rock along the river corridor downstream. Lava built the stage, ice swept it clean, and the fault set its angles. The river has been performing on it ever since. Head back downstream and the river does something unexpected. Between the 2 waterfalls it stops rushing entirely and spreads out into a calm lake, ringed by spruce, pine, and hardwoods. This is Interfalls Lake, and the name says it plainly, the lake between the falls. On a still October day it mirrors the autumn shoreline. It is strange and wonderful that the same river can thunder, rest, and thunder again within a couple of miles. Interfalls Lake is the social heart of the park in summer. There is a swimming beach about 300 feet long, and its sand was actually hauled in from the shores of Lake Superior. The lake itself is shallow and stained like the river that feeds it, and it does not support a population of sport fish. Trout waters in the area are another matter, and anyone fishing for trout in Wisconsin needs a trout stamp. But in October the beach is empty, and the lake belongs to the migrating ducks. The forest along this trail is a meeting place of two worlds. Northern boreal species, the spruces and pines and firs of the cold country, mix with hardwoods like maple and birch that dominate farther south. That blend is what makes autumn here so striking, evergreen darkness setting off the gold and red. The understory is thick with fern and moss, still green above the leaf litter. Walk quietly and the woods feel far older and far bigger than 1,400 acres. People have known and named every part of this river for a very long time. To the Ojibwe, the great falls downstream held the voice of Gitche Manito, the Great Spirit, and it was a place approached with reverence. The rapids below it were called Bohiwam Sasajwan, the Laughing Rapids, and this smaller drop was Kakabika Bunghi, the Little Waterfalls. Long before any park map, this stretch of dark water already had its geography of names and meaning. Along the bank, you start noticing the small things. Potholes worn into the basalt where pebbles have spun for centuries. Foam lines tracing the current, driftwood silvered by the sun, moss holding the spray line like a green tide mark. Every waterfall advertises itself with noise, but the river between falls rewards a slower kind of attention. This is the part of the hike where you stop taking pictures and just look. There is buried history in these woods. Native people mined copper in this region long before Europeans arrived. Prospectors explored the area around 1845 to 1847 with little success, and during the Civil War, a wave of copper fever brought miners from Michigan to try again. The deposits never proved rich enough to pay. What remains are old test holes, pits, and tunnels scattered through the park, slowly filling with leaves. It changes a hike, knowing what happened on the ground you are covering. This same corridor along the Black River has carried Ojibwe families, fur traders, copper miners, and lumbermen. In the 1800s, a trading post reportedly stood near the big falls downstream, a gathering place on the river. The forest has taken most of the evidence back. What is left is the trail, following the same dark water everyone else followed. Now for the man this park is named after, and his story starts far from here. He was born in January of 1841 in southern Ontario, and when he was around 11, his family moved to Sanilac County in the thumb of Michigan. He grew up hard, working in Michigan logging camps for about a decade, then building a lumber business of his own near the town of Minden. Michigan, curiously, has its own Black River in that country. He learned rivers and timber there, and both would shape the rest of his life. Keep that young lumberman in mind as the trail climbs gently along the river. Every path in this park exists, in a roundabout way, because of decisions he made decades later and hundreds of miles from home. History has a strange way of assigning guardians to places. This dark little river in Wisconsin ended up owing its future to a boy from the Michigan thumb. We will get to how. In 1872, he abruptly left his old life in Michigan behind, and when he resurfaced in Marquette, he was using a new name, Martin Pattison. It is a genuinely strange chapter, and historians in Superior have documented it, a man who effectively started over in his early 30s. Under the new name, he threw himself back into timber and then into something bigger. Whatever he left behind, the second act of his life would be very public indeed. Watch the river push through the rocks here, and you see what drew lumbermen to water like this. Rivers were the highways of the timber era, the engines that moved logs and turned mills. A man who could read water and stand of pine could turn forest into fortune. Pattison could read both. By the time he reached this river, he had spent half a lifetime learning what it was worth. Pattison moved to Superior, Wisconsin in 1879 and established logging operations on this very river, the Black. Then he looked west to the Vermilion Iron Range in northern Minnesota and went exploring for ore. His efforts located the famous Chandler and Pioneer mines, and iron did for him what copper never did for anyone here. It made him rich. Lumber built his stake, and iron built his fortune. From the higher stretches of trail, you can look out over the river corridor and imagine how a man like that saw this country. Timber on every ridge, water power in every drop of the river. In the late 1800s, a river falling 196 feet inside a few miles was not scenery. It was horsepower waiting for a dam. That is exactly the fate that nearly found this valley. And the man who stopped it was the same man who had logged it. In Superior, Martin Pattison became a leading citizen. He served as sheriff of Douglas County in the mid-1880s and was elected mayor of Superior 3 times. He built Fairlawn, a 42-room Victorian mansion overlooking the bay, which still stands today as a museum. The runaway lumberjack had become a civic institution, and in 1917, this park's moment of danger became his moment. Take a long look at this free-flowing river, because it very nearly disappeared. In 1917, a power dam was planned on the Black River, and it would have destroyed the Great Falls downstream and changed this whole valley. Pattison heard about it and acted quietly. Working in secret so prices would not soar, he bought 660 acres along the river from different landowners. Then he gave it all away. Pattison donated the land to the people of Wisconsin in 1918, and he died that same year. On January 20th, 1920, Wisconsin dedicated its 6th state park and named it for him. The dam was never built, the falls kept falling, and the dark river kept its color and its course. Whatever complications his story holds, the ending is unambiguous. Every hiker on this trail is walking through his gift. Notice how well-made parts of this trail system are: the graded paths, the steps, the sturdy park buildings you pass near the lake. Those are not modern conveniences. They are the work of young men who came here during the Great Depression with shovels and wheelbarrows. Nearly a century later, hikers still walk on what they built. Their story is the last chapter of this park's making. On July 25, 1935, Civilian Conservation Corps Company 3663 arrived at Pattison State Park. For about 7 years, the CCC crews worked here, building shelter buildings, a nature center, a bathhouse and trails, and landscaping the beach at Inner Falls Lake. The CCC gave Depression-era young men wages, food, and a trade, and gave parks like this one their bones. Much of what makes Pattison feel finished and cared for today is their handiwork, still in service. And the park they help protect is thoroughly alive. Nearly 200 species of birds have been recorded here, along with more than 50 species of mammals, from beavers working the lake edges to black bears in the backcountry. In autumn, the river corridor becomes a flyway, and the bogs and forest upstream keep feeding the river its dark, cold water. A whole ecosystem rides this river down from the Minnesota bogs to the falls. Little Manitou is one loud, white moment in that long, quiet journey. Big waterfalls astonish you, but little waterfalls befriend you, and this one repays every quiet visit. A dark river out of the bogs, a billion-year-old ledge of lava rock, an October forest in full color, and the little falls the Ojibwe called Kakabika-Bunghi. If you come to Pattison State Park for the giant downstream, save an hour for the quieter sibling upstream. Walk the river trail, stand in the spray, and listen. Thank you for watching. Follow for more of the trails of the world.